Hello everybody and welcome to a battle replay. Yes, I'm one of those channels now apparently. I'm just kidding, of course. This is a replay from a stream that I did last Thursday. It was a multiplayer battle against viewers. This is what I'm doing now on Thursdays on my streams because I decided it's a lot more fun, a lot more interactive, and it's just something I want to try out. So this battle was me and I believe it was someone called Dixby Floppin 69, very, very nice name there, versus Raven as the Norscan guys and Salt Efan, I believe, as the Vampire Counts. And it was a pretty intense 2v2 battle with a very interesting result that I'm sure you'll come to see. I'll just quickly go over the armies. So I here am playing the Lizardmen, so I have just a front line of spears, a couple of salamanders, a couple of engine of the gods, a Dread Sorin, Lord Croak and Gorok. Very nice and simple there. Just a staunch line of spears and a bunch of dinosaurs and one crusty old wizard. My ally is playing very defensively. He's got a couple of Black Orcs up with a Ragnarok Spider, and then the majority of his Black Orcs defending this artillery position here, with a couple of Doomdive catapults. Army's being led by Wurzag, who is over here, just riding around on his mount, looking very majestic indeed, and a Ragnarok Spider over here, and some Goblin Wolf Rider archers trying to make a ballsy play over on the left flank there. We're going against the Vampire Counts. They have a couple of units of direwolves on this side of the map. They have a couple of units of direwolves. They have a bunch of spears and swords and skeletons and graveguard and all sorts of infantry. A couple of units of crypt horrors, a couple of units of blood knights, led by Heinrich Kemmler and a corpse cart with unholy lodestone. Very intimidating there. And on the other side we have, we've of course got a couple of terror guys. I always forget about those guys. And our other enemy is the Norscan guys. They have just brought a bunch of Marauder champions, with some with great weapons, some without. 3 mammoths, one of which has Wulfric himself on top, a fire spellcaster, and a couple of units of Fimir warriors with great weapons. So a very intimidating force to be going against for sure there. So we'll just have to see how this one pans out. So, as you can see here, my ally tried to do this ballsy strategy with the Goblin Wolf Rider archers over here. Unfortunately, he didn't account for the direwolves starting there, so that's very unfortunate because they have more speed than these guys, and even though these direwolves aren't the best in combat, they can very easily take out Goblin Wolf Rider archers. They have basically no leadership, basically no melee prowess. They're going to get ripped to pieces for sure there, so that's a very unfortunate end for that unit. He's not really going to get that much value out of it. In fact, he's only got about 3 kills, and yep, he's just been caught, so yep. And the leadership is absolutely plummeting, so that's very unfortunate indeed. As you can see here, I am kind of moving over to the left to set up a defensive position against the Vampire Counts, whereas my ally is fighting against the Norscan Raiders and unfortunately is suffering from that Pillar of Flame cast there. I can't remember the name of that spell, I never can. But it's the randomly moving AoE from the Law of Fire. Is very painful indeed if he's managed to get it into a bunch of these Black Orcs, which unfortunately he has. I would be moving all of those guys back instead of just those 2, because these guys now are absolutely getting ripped to pieces by that. Very unfortunate, and it might even come into this unit a little bit if the movement is favourable, but no, fortunately it runs out just before. As you can hear, this Ragnarok Spider is moving back very defensively. Wise move there. It was very far up. If those Blood Knights had surrounded it, it'd have been good night Vienna for him. As you can see in the background there, those Goblin Wolf Rider archers are running off the field, and they are definitely not coming back. Those direwolves are making sure of it, and they're gone. Direwolves now going to be moving back to see what other havoc they can call. Wurzag moving up for a Foot of Gork cast. He's trying to get it on that War Mammoth and these Marauder champions here. It's an excellent cast. It gets quite a bunch of kills on those Marauder champions. Personally, I would have maybe waited for these guys to move up so you can get it on Wulfric as well, or maybe hit some of these great weapons since they are a little more dangerous in melee, but hey ho, we all make mistakes in the heat of combat. As you can see here, he's just forming a very defensive line. Couple of Black Orcs here, couple here, Ragnarok Spiders on both flanks, and Wurzag floating around in the middle while he makes some pot shots with his Doomdive catapults, just firing off their first volleys now into the enemy infantry. His fire spellcast moving up, being shot at by my Ancient Salamander. I noticed this Burning Head cast coming here, so I moved all of my infantry lines back to avoid as much damage as possible. Only got a few hits on my Saurus Spears, but didn't actually lose any entities there, so that's not really too much for a worry. Yeah, it does hit a little bit here because I didn't account for moving back quite that far, but again, just some minor damage, nothing too serious. The Ancient Salamander is moved up here, waiting for these Crypt Horrors and other units to get into position. Heinrich Kemmler moves up, so I decided to take a couple of pot shots at him, but he apparently is ridiculously tough. He has unreal amounts of physical armor, so he's just going to shrug most of this damage off, and let's be honest, he's a Vampire Count. He's going to regenerate it anyway, so it really didn't do too much there, but I'm just moving back my units now, setting up a defensive, not a ring, but kind of a short curve. So I'm moving these spears here on sort of an angle to defend against this and then the space here to defend if these guys try and move in on me. Another spellcast going down in the middle of my allies' Black Orcs there. Unfortunately, my ally is getting absolutely bullied in this battle by the spells. It's very unfortunate indeed. He really needed to move this line. Fortunately for him, the AoE did move just out of range of his troops, so it didn't get that much value, but he could have done with moving those around. But hey, we all make mistakes, as I say. I'm not judging anyone. This was a lot of fun. So as you can see here, the Crypt Horrors getting into range now. One of them already fallen to a shot from the Ancient Salamander. That's fantastic. Another Foot of Gork coming down, unfortunately, just misses out on those Familiar Great Warriors and the Great Weapons there, which are some very valuable units, and that's a very expensive spell, so I bet he wishes he got some kills with that. The enemy Heinrich Kemmel here did actually summon some zombie units into the middle of my front lines. I managed to notice in time and pull my spears out to defend my flank from these Crypt Horrors and the other unit of zombies, whereas these spears, they can just clean up those zombies along with these zombies and these Sternsmen. The other unit of Crypt Horrors moving in on these spears with some zombies, and the unit of Direwolf for some reason charging into my spears. Very unwise decision there. Sora spears are some of the toughest early game spear units in the game, so Direwolves are not even going to stand a chance. Another unit of zombies moving in, nothing to worry about there. A bloody massive cast from Lord Croak here into this just triple unit of infantry. Yes, it's a couple of units of zombies, so it's not really the most efficient cast, but you know what, there was just that many units that I could not resist. The Dread Saurian, however, moving in, ripping and tearing. This is an excellent cast of Engine of the Gods over here. So my allies, Arachnarok Spider was getting absolutely slammed by a bunch of units, 2 units of Blood Knight and some units of Skeleton Spearmen, so I was like, you know what, that unit is probably dead anyway, so I'm just going to cast Engine of the Gods right on top of it, and I'm hopefully going to get as many of these Blood Knights as I can, and I get a massive number of them. It was a beautiful cast, if I do say so myself, picking up a whopping 65 kills, not too shabby at all, and another Engine of the Gods coming down on these Graveguard here, and of course onto these zombies, which aren't too large a target, but you know, those Sternsmen, I really want to take as many of those out as possible, because they can do some serious work. They're not even Sternsmen, they're just regular Graveguard, just ignore them. Lord Croak himself getting involved in the fighting because, of course, he's not just a spellcaster, he also does some pretty good melee attack and damage over there. So I'm sending him into some magical damage, which will, of course, cut through any physical resistance that Heinrich himself can cast here. If you look at that, yeah, 75% physical resist. Ow, that shit's not fun. He's moving in to try and target Lord Croak here, along with these Direwolves, and this unit of Graveguard with great weapons, and another unit of zombies that he's literally just summoned. I'm just going to slow things down. The Dread Saurian, however, here, completely cleaning up these Graveguard. They are fading, they are at critical binding, they're going to break, and they're going to crumble, along with this Corpse Guard here. They're not having a good time against this Dread Saurian, just straight up not having a good time. Gorak himself is just diving into these Graveguard with great weapons over here. He does not care. He is ripping them to pieces. He's already picked up 36 kills in 5 minutes, and of those 5 minutes, he's probably been fighting for about 2. So that's some incredible work there. My ally, on the other hand, he's really not having a good time. He got absolutely overrun by all of the Norscan forces. They managed to just charge straight through, take out his Doomdive catapults, which were going to be the majority of the killing power for him. So, you know, they got 54 there and 76 there, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. They are quickly being dismantled and rooting off the battlefield. Wurzag is trying his best to take on Wulfric the Wanderer, but just look at the size difference, the HP difference, the attack difference. He doesn't really stand a chance. The other Arachnarok Spider over here getting a little bit bullied by the Terrorgeist and the War Mammoth. That's very unfortunate for him indeed. He's tried to send some Black Orcs in to assist, but it's not really going to be enough. The other Black Orcs on the front line, what's left, he's moving one unit back to try and assist with this, along with another unit that's already there and another unit that's already there. There's one unit here that's being surrounded by 2 units of Chaos Marauders and 2 units of Familiar Weapons, along with the Fire Spellcasters, so they are quickly going to disappear. And the ones that are going versus the Great Weapons over here, they're not doing too well either. They are slightly winning their current combat, and there's a bloody ice cream truck. Okay, the ice cream truck has shown up now, so they're actually winning that current combat, but yeah, they've got all these guys coming from in a moment, so that's not going too well. I did try and send my Ancient Salamander over to try and assist with this, just fire some pot shots into there, because no matter what, I'm going to get some kills, so I just thought it was the best use of him. This guy, however, he's kind of stuck in some melee combat there, and the other Arachnarok Spider over here, he's also straight up and having a good time getting charged by some Blood Knights. I should really be shooting at them with my Ancient Salamander, but I don't believe I've noticed. Lord Croak himself getting a bit surrounded here, so I just cast a spell on himself that will explode everything around him, and should pick up a large number of kills and just basically clear a way for him to just get out of that. The missiles from the Dread Saurian also assist him with this. As you can see there, the explosion just went off, and I immediately tried to start moving him out of combat, but the dials there just really clogging him down. I'm now sending over Gorak to assist with this, because Krell, Heinrich, and all these guys can quickly take out Lord Croak. He is an incredible guy and does a bunch of damage. He's already got 315 kills, but his armor, his melee defense, it's really not there, so he does need protection and assistance. I also moved the Dread Saurian over because he was tearing the ass up over here, so he doesn't really need to worry about what's going on over there. On this flank of the battle, my units are outnumbered, but what are we actually against? We're against 1 unit of Great Guard with great weapons, zombies, and some skeleton spearmen. 2 units of spearmen, of Saurus spears, and an ancient stegodon. Yeah, they're going to do just fine. Of course, the ancient stegodon has the similar projectiles that we've seen off the Dread Sauron. It can fire the whole time, and it is poison damage, so every unit in this vicinity is it's not going to be having a good time. It's going to be getting pulled to pieces by this and made weaker because of it. As you can see, the Ancient Salamander is trying to get some shots off on Heinrich, but I think he just keeps getting distracted by these zombies. Even though they are crumbling, he's still fighting them. They have... I really wish he'd stop doing that. So as you can see here, Gorok is having a great time fighting against Krell. It's a legendary showdown for the ages there. Gorok is, of course, a fantastic fighter. Krell, also a fantastic fighter, but I think we both know what's going to be the result here. He's been assisted by some zombies that have been summoned by Heinrich, but Gorok isn't even going to notice or feel them, so he's just going to press on. I think I'm just spamming his abilities on cooldown as far as I know, and he's just doing as much damage as he possibly can. Who the hell has messaged me on Discord? As you can see here, I sent Lord Croak into this battle because he's being protected by a bunch of his units and can just get a massive number of kills with just spellcasts and regular basic attacks. So, of course, I'm going to be sending him to do another cast here into these Graveguard, should put them out of commission for good. Heinrich, of course, is charging in, trying to focus down Lord Croak because he knows how dangerous he is. But Heinrich is pretty much gaining health from this because he just has unreal amounts of regeneration. The bloody vampire counts, they just never die. I love them, but goddamn, fighting against them, it's very frustrating. Unfortunately, my Salamander here is getting chased around by a bunch of units of infantry. I thought this was as good a use of them because these guys can't catch up to my Salamander, so I may as well just keep him on the move and take these guys out of commission, tie them out as much as I can. You know, this guy can get tied and he can attack from range, but these guys get tied, they go into melee, they break almost immediately. As my ally, it's not looking well. He's getting a big chain route here. He's pretty much done for. There's 1 unit of Black Orcs that are chasing down these guys, but they are pretty much dead. Wurzag is now retreating. Almost all of the units are off the field, and it's going to come down to just me versus these 2 armies, one of which is, I mean, Wulfric's is not in good form, so that is very useful. I appreciate my ally whittling him down that much, but of course this is not going to be an easy fight for me. I'm also sending my spare Stegodon Engine of the Gods over here to see if I can get a cast into this nice clump, because if I could kill a load of those without need to actually fight them in melee, that'd save me a bunch of trouble. So we have these spears just finishing off the last of the zombies. You know, they're literally just waiting around. Heinrich very smartly charging down my Saurus spears, so to make sure that they don't come back. But they are still gaining some leadership, so I don't think he's going to be too successful there, and he's only Heinrich. He doesn't really do that much damage when you come down to it. But these guys are still taking quite a lot of damage. The Dread Sauron, it's got 153 kills so far. It's doing very well. This is exactly where I want to be, in the middle of a bunch of infantry. Krell now getting decimated, and he is gone from the battlefield from a mixture of Gorok and some spears. So the Vampire Count's army is basically gone. Oh, another Engine of the Gods cast here into these guys. I just noticed they're in a big line now. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of that. He does manage to notice and move some of them out of it, but the War Mammoth takes a fair chunk of damage there, and if he's not careful, this might just kiss. His spellcast unfortunately ends just before. Yeah, so all that the Vampire Counts have now is these 2 Terrorites and Heinrich, pretty much, and as many zombies as Heinrich can summon. So I'm now starting to try and form up and move my units towards him. Towards Wulfric, sorry. Heinrich is still trying to cause trouble, but these spears against some zombies, you know, even with all these upgrades, they're not really going to last very long. Even with Heinrich helping them, they're not going to last very long, especially when I send Gorok in. Gorok versus Heinrich, that's not even a question. Gorok has it all day. Even though he's a lot slower, Heinrich is eventually going to have to come and fight him, and he's definitely not going to win that. The enemy spellcaster moving in here to try and get a cast off on the Dread Sauron and the Engine of the Gods. Unfortunately, that cast was just a touch too late, so that's going to miss, not hit anything. Unfortunately for him, very fortunate for me. Unfortunately, my Ancient Salamander, who I sent to take some pot shots at Wulfric, he's just with his back to a one-off, so yeah, he's gone. I should have microed that better. That's very unfortunate that I lost him, because he could have done some serious work in sniping Wulfric. We might see him a little bit later, though. My Engine of the Gods here is just in this massive clump. He's not doing too well. I should have managed him a little bit better, but you know what? He hasn't really got any Engine of the Gods casts left, so this is the best thing for him. Just get in and fight as much as he can. Oh, maybe this is his last one? No, this is from this one. There we go. Massive Engine of the Gods cast into those guys. Unfortunately, these guys are so tough, they barely even felt that. It did a bit of damage, but they just walked straight out of it like it didn't even phase them, didn't even knock them over. Very unfortunate. A decent burning head cast there, but not really hitting anything too significant, just a couple of Sauruses. They're already pretty beaten up anyway, so it's not really going to do too much work. The Dread Sauron versus the War Mammoth. The Dread Sauron wins this all day, especially when the War Mammoth is this completely battered. Lord Croak going in to assist. I'm now trying to farm a couple of death balls, just all of my units in one place, so that, you know, they don't run out of leadership. The Salamander, thankfully, coming back right from the edge of the map, so I'm just using him to get some pot shots off on this War Mammoth and make sure he does not come back. I do not want these units to come back. When they are routed, I want them to leave. Fortunately, that one does miss. And Lord Croak and the Dread Sorin are going to move up and chase him just before I manage to pull them into this Death Ball, which I have now. The protection of the old ones, isn't that called? Has gone down. Yeah, the Supreme Shield of the old ones. Ah, it was close enough. And it's reducing the damage that all of these guys are taking. So that is beautiful. Saving a bunch of life, saving a bunch of damage there. This War Mammoth completely surrounded. He's got a couple of Famir Great Weapons Warriors, but against all these large targets, these guys, even though they are anti-large, they're not going to do too well. You know, they've just got that many things throwing them around, doing a bunch of damage. Very unfortunate for them. Fortunately, one of my Engine of the Gods is going to retreat due to being attacked by 2 Terror Guys and some Blood Knights. Not surprising there whatsoever. Lord Croak himself getting involved and pretty much out of Winds of Magic now. Of course, he's doing his best to garner me as many Winds of Magic as he possibly can, but it's unfortunately not going to do too much. A massive chain route of my spears here. I thought this was the end, but somehow they managed to find the courage to come back, and I cannot thank them enough for their brave service. As you can see, my Ancient Salamander is trying to get some shots of Wulfric. A fantastic hit there. He's down to his last 2,000 HP, which for a War Mammoth is not a lot of HP. For these guys, it's like a Footlord. That's pretty much max, but for a War Mammoth, that's not much. It's my Death Ball here. I'm just trying to keep it as close-knit as possible. Thankfully, all these guys root in the same position, so as one of them comes back, it kind of encourages the other ones to come back. That was very, very useful there. Very fortunate with the cast. Unfortunately, Lord Croak getting completely surrounded and cut off from the rest of our guys. I do try and move everyone in, but I don't think it's enough. I believe he does fall right here. Yep, there he goes. He is gone. That's very unfortunate indeed. I could have done with another cast or just a bunch of AoE explosions there, but as you can see, he's ascending to Croak Heaven or whatever it is called for the Lizardmen. I'm not too up to date with my lore. But yes, we just have this final showdown of Gorok and the Dread Sorin and then Engine of the Gods Stegodon and the Ancient Salamanders just basically chasing down anything that remains. And fortunately, we are doing very well here. You know, Wulfric is running away. Fortunately, that Terror Guy gets a massive cast into the Dread Sorin, does a massive amount of damage there. But most of the units in here are rooting. You know, all of the Norscan units, they are pretty much rooting and going away. Heinrich has realized, you know what, I've got to come in, I've got to do this. He's at his regeneration cap. So I'm like, right now, Heinrich cannot regen anymore. He needs to die. He has done so much to hassle me. He's only got 5 kills, but he's just done so much to hassle me and charge into my units and do a lot of damage and summons, and it's very irritating. I want him gone. Unfortunately, with the vampire counts, the Lord doesn't really break even when the rest of the units are. He just kind of sticks around, does his own thing. It's the other way around. When the Lord breaks, the army breaks. Fortunately, the Terror Geist here is going in on the Ancient Salamander. That's going to be an easy kill for him to pick up, especially with the Rampage. I have no control there. Yep, he's gone completely. The majority of the Norscan forces are coming back, but they are very low. Like the Wulfric the Wanderer over there, he's on his last 1,000 HP. And for a target that big, with these guys that shoot ranged constantly, that's not going to be any trouble. Unfortunately, the Dread Sorin does chase this guy off, and he does get him to shatter, which is very good, but he's completely separated, and that's a terrible situation to be in, because he is just separated from everyone else. Gorok and the Ancient Stegodon Engine of the Gods are just focusing down Heinrich Kemmler, trying to get rid of him. The Dread Sorin itself are doing an amazing amount of work. It's picked up 203 kills, and has routed 2 War Mammoths and Wulfric the Wanderer. He just saw that thing and was like, you know what, dog, I'm good, I don't even want to hunt that. The other War Mammoth is shattered, and he is now surrounded by Fimir, Great Weapons Warriors, and some Chaos Marauders who are now running away. But unfortunately, he just doesn't have enough in him. He is just running out of health, running out of leadership, and running out of energy, I suppose. Heinrich Kemmler here still desperately trying to fight Gorok along with the health of his Terror Guys. With the Ancient Stegodon, he's just got army. He's just got ammo upon ammo upon ammo to throw into this fight. And the Spearmen are now coming up for the assist as well, so it's not looking too particularly good for Heinrich Kemmler over here. He does run away yet again. Absolute cowardly play there. JK, that's a very smart play. Get him out before he dies, otherwise the rest of his army dies. Gorok is now down to his last 841 HP, but he's an incredibly tough guy. He can still stick around for quite a little while, even after that. These Blood Knights are moving back in. Another unit of my Spearmen is just routed, and they are now charging back. These guys, I don't believe they come back, but they might do. I don't understand how they keep coming back. They have basically no health. They are a true inspiration to us all. Gorok is now running out of leadership, however. He's down to 663 health. That's not good. But if fighting Heinrich actually made his leadership goal, because it was like, this guy, I can beat this guy. He's nothing. The Dread Sorin managing to get back to the fight and into this Death Ball of the Ancient Stegodon and Gorok. Unfortunately, Gorok getting charged by some Blood Knight there. Very unfortunate indeed. And the Marauder Great Weapons along with the Fimir Great Weapons moving in to try and finish this as quickly as possible. Fortunately, the Terror Geist is now crumbling and completely disappearing off the battlefield, and that is a massive loss, because once he loses this guy, he has Blood Knights, but if they can't charge anything, You know, they can obviously charge these guys all day, but they're going to get ripped to shreds. But if they can't get pinned down with this and then get charged, you know, the Blood Knights aren't really going to do too much, and they are on a minuscule amount of health. The Dread Starin still shooting out that massive amount of missile damage constantly. Every single time he's in battle, every few seconds you just see those volleys coming off and shooting every single unit in the area, which is of course poisoning them, making them less effective, and, you know, causing them to be easy targets for the rest of our army. Now we're completely out of spear units. I believe Gorak has died. No, he's not died. He's just there. But he is running away. He's definitely... I don't think he might come back once, actually. I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. But the Engine of the Gods, Stegadon, is running away, and that is very upsetting indeed. At this point, I was like, you know what? I might just surrender because it's over. And then all of a sudden, Gorak rallies, the Ancient Stegadon rallies, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not handing this to him. If he wants to win this battle, he has to finish me off, right? What have they really got left? They've got a couple of these guys, you know, a couple of Marauders, nothing too serious for me. It's just infantry, and I can deal with infantry. I've got monsters, that's all they can do, just take on infantry. He's summoning zombies, that is just feeding this guy kills and feeding him rank. This Dread Saurin, he's got like 5 or 6 ranks in the course of this battle. It is insane. Gorak is down to his last 134 HP and is still fighting with 27 leadership. He is going after Heinrich. He's like, you've caused me too much grief, you've caused me too much trouble, you must crumble to nothing, I must see you die. And he's doing a fantastic job of that. Heinrich did attack there. I believe it did 3 damage because Gorak is so damn tough. But unfortunately, that 3 damage and the fear was enough. And the Dread Saurin is also in a terrible way. Look how minuscule its HP bar is there, and it still has 1,245 health. That's crazy. But that's it. That's all I got. The Engine of the Gods is now my only unit. That's all we got. It has no ammo, it has no casts, it just has its melee attack, and fortunately, its melee attack is pretty damn good. I see Heinrich charging down Gorak over here on 22 health. Gorak is definitely dead, there's not really much I can do to save him there, but fortunately, that back charge by the Engine of the Gods is now breaking Heinrich Kemmel. If I can get him to completely disappear from the battlefield, these zombies will, and after that, these guys, it's no contest. Unfortunately, Gorak dies there, and you can see the Engine of the Gods, it started to lose a little bit of leadership. And it's lowering very slowly and steadily. It's now down to 21 leadership, 24. It keeps rubber banding just after Gorak dies, and then it manages to get it back when it gets over the death of its lord, and then it realizes, you know what, I can actually win this. What have they actually got left? It's just some zombies there, and the lord has died, so they are crumbling. I don't even need to worry about them. In fact, I believe I sent the Engine of the Gods just to walk straight through it, and I'm glad I did, because they just crumbled to nothing. Now all that is left are these Marauder Great Weapons and the Stegadon, Engine of the Gods, and a couple of units of Great Weapons Marauders over here. These guys, yeah, they're on 735 health, that they ain't coming back, so we're just going to fast forward this. I was like, you know what, if you want to kill me, come kill me. And then I realised I had about 10 minutes left of the stream, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to spend it standing around. So I was like, okay, I'll move forwards. And I initially started moving off slowly to give this guy time to regen some energy, but I was like, you know what, I just want this over. I can beat them even if I'm exhausted. So I just sent him running in eventually. There we go. I believe he's in full speed now. Yes, and I believe I don't even need to touch these guys, do I? I think I just... Oh, no. I do touch them, but not much. I just get close to them, and then I think I just poke one of them a little bit, and then they are gone off the battlefield. And it's quite a beautiful and heart-fought victory. There we go. Didn't even need to touch them, and we get the win. How incredible is that? That's why you never give up, guys. When you're in a battle, and you think you've lost all, make sure that you make them fight till the end. Because then you might pick up something crazy like this. I did not expect it. As you can see from the stats here, I got a lot of value out of my large units. I got a lot of value out of most of my army, in fact. The only guy that didn't get much value was one Salamander and Gorak, because he was fighting single targets most of the time. But as you can see here, Lord Croak, nearly 400 kills. That is so good. I mean, a lot of that was on summoned zombies and stuff, so it's not really that much. It's not really that valuable. But 377 kills, that is crazy. Over 100 on every single one of my spearmen. Nearly 400 on these guys. In fact, my best performing unit overall was some spears. Crazy. 132 on the Ancient Salamander. 300 between the Ancient Stegadon, Engine of the Gods, between the casts and the melee attacking and the ranged. It's crazy. The Dread Saurin, 274 by itself. Incredible work there. Unfortunately, my ally didn't really get much time to do some killing. I did feel very bad for him. I just looked over and was like, oh no. He's getting absolutely slaughtered. It was very unfortunate that he got attacked by the Norscan force. I feel like I would have... my army was better suited to fighting them, but hey-ho, it's how it fell, and we still got the victory. He did get a couple of kills on the artillery, which was, of course, his main killing power, but the Ragnarok Spiders, barely any value there, very unfortunate. And only one unit of Black Orcs, really got too much value, so that's very unfortunate. Sol Efan, the Vampire Counts, really didn't get that many kills, mostly because they were fighting me, and the majority of my units were single targets, and the ones that weren't, they're not a very large unit size anyway, so it's quite hard to pick up a lot of kills on chaff. Like the highest killing units, 49 on some Graveguard, the Stearnsman. So yeah, the Vampire Counts, I managed to make sure they didn't get much value there, which is very fortunate for me. The Norskins, however, yeah, they got a lot of kills. Especially Wolfric the Wanderer. He just charged in with his mammoth, got 118 there, and then another 100 between both of his war mammoths, and then all of his infantry put together got 100 or 200 there. The Spellcaster didn't really get that much value, but still picked up a number of kills. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this. This is something I was just trying out. I just thought, you know what, I've got the replay saved from the stream on Thursday, so I thought I'd just add some commentary over it, and just some of my thoughts post-battle on how I thought I could have improved. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment. If you didn't enjoy it and think of something else that I should do with my free time, then be sure to leave a comment down below. I'll also be sure to give that a read. Anything you'd like me to do differently in these sorts of videos, by the way, also leave that down below. Be sure to give it a read. If you want to see more videos like this, guides, now battle commentaries apparently, streams, then be sure to subscribe, and make sure you never miss a video, hit that bell notification, all that fun stuff. But yes, I believe that wraps up everything. So for now, I was COLONELDAMNEDERS, and I'll see you next turn.